The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
A lot going on, America, and I'm so glad that you're with us. Dominic Carter here, the number to reach me live this hour for you to be heard, 800-848-9222. The FBI says the man who set fire outside 26 Federal Plaza here in New York City is an Army veteran from Poughkeepsie, New York, Andrew Arabaka, in custody now. The veteran accused of dousing a stairwell with gasoline, the employee's entrance to the federal building here in New York, and igniting it with apparently with fireworks or a match, which sent flames and smoke throughout the entire area. That's one of our big stories. Also, Mom Donnie, the socialist mayor of America's largest city, doubling down. You heard me, doubling down on his threat to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if Netanyahu comes to New York during the United Nations General Assembly in September. And President Trump hitting Canada with a surprise 50% tariff on some products, and apparently this came without any advance word. As far as the person, this Mr. Andrew Arabaka in custody, the Army veteran, Democrats, are you ever going to learn the lesson? Elected officials, you keep lighting the match, and these nuts throughout America keep carrying out the actions of what you are talking about when you denounce President Trump, when you can't get over your Trump derangement syndrome, and when you surely can't get over denouncing ICE. This guy had all types of ICE anti-messages with him, and this is part of a report from the ABC affiliate here in New York.
The alarming scene unfolded this morning and was all caught on camera. Tonight, the NYPD says the suspect is an anti-government extremist. He's been identified as 43-year-old Andrew Arabaka, a U.S. Army veteran from Poughkeepsie. He is now under arrest. Investigators say he was armed with a machete, several knives, and an airsoft rifle. And officials say that he was okay with hurting or killing people, no matter if they were ICE officials or civilians.
ICE officials or civilians, it didn't matter to this nut. And this is courtesy of Democrat elected officials. When are you going to learn that your rhetoric is setting our country back more and more each day? The police commissioner of New York City, Jessica Tisch.
Subdue him and take him into federal custody. On the scene was recovered, among other things, 2 airsoft rifles and the container with the flammable liquid. Also affixed to the suspect's cart was a sign reading "ICE off our streets." During the incident, the suspect was wearing a military-style helmet. This incident occurred along federal property, and the NYPD is supporting the federal government in their investigations. Charges are yet to be filed. Our work with the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the Southern District of New York is critical to keeping our city safe, and I commend the federal agents and contractors and officers who responded to the threat.
And so these nuts throughout America, they're listening to this rhetoric. Democrat elected officials, they follow through on what they believe are signals that you are sending them, and then they go ruin the rest of their lives. This man is now in federal custody. This is no joke. You talk about what's also no joke. The story that we told you 24 hours ago, the mayor of New York City, Mom Donnie, this character has the cojones to issue red meat to his base to people that don't know any better, that just go, rah, yeah, Netanyahu, a world leader coming to New York, lock him up. It is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And the former mayor of this city, Eric Adams, appearing on the Fox News channel.
What's your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, it doesn't take Corporation Counsel weeks and months to tell him he has no legal means. He knows that. And did he speak with the police commissioner? Because who's going to actually do the arrest? Or is he in partnership with the federal authorities? And so we have to think about how this rhetoric is, first of all, is bad to do, but it's also dangerous for Americans abroad. You know, since being out of office, I've traveled to different countries. You cannot send a signal that right here in America, we're not going to respect a sovereign leader of a country, and you're going to talk about as a local mayor arresting the individual. This is just bad to even put that statement out.
You know, over the course of the last couple of decades, I've heard people say that they don't think that the Iranian president should be allowed to speak at the UN. But time in and time out, the Iranian president comes. In fact, last time he was here, Pezeshkian, I interviewed him, and he spoke at the UN. I don't hear, 4 months later, the Iranian government slaughtered tens of thousands of people in the street. I don't hear Mayor Mamdani suggesting that he shouldn't come.
No, and you're right. And it's selective morality. You did not hear the same people who marched in our streets on thousands during the Gaza actions. You did not hear their words when soccer players, girls, were being threatened with death, when innocent people were being murdered.
And Adams has a point there. Where was Mamdani at that point? 800-848-9222. I don't know about you folks, but I am fit to be tied with these socialists. I am done with these nuts, absolute nuts that belong on the fringe, certainly not in a major party. They snuck up on the Democrat Party. They're in the process of taking over the Democrat Party. This is why I never took Bernie Sanders as a joke. You know, thousands turning out for his rally. Bernie Sanders played a big role in leading all of what we're seeing now. And he's the one out there pumping his chest, if you will, at the growth of these socialists. And they're nuts. Let's call it for what it is. It's not just me. Far left, Van Jones of CNN, you're about to hear. He's saying the same exact thing. Bill Maher says he may vote for the Republican nominee for president in the next election. It goes on and on and on. It's time out for these nuts. It's time to put them in check. This is Van Jones, far left, CNN, stating enough is enough.
I am tired of a set of people on the very far left in the Democratic Party. Ideas that are literally insane, nutty, moronic, dangerous, bigoted, are not progressive. They're regressive, and they should not be in our party.
I'm not living in communist America. I mean, I know the talking point is, well, it's not communism, it's socialism. Okay, I've read the quotes from the DSA platform, from their own mouths. Don't tell me I'm not seeing what I am seeing. They say things like, you know, takeover of key industries, government. That's communism.
And this comes amid reports of tension between Bernie Sanders and Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader personally calling the socialist senator, telling him to stop meddling in Democratic primaries. But Sanders wasn't taking his orders. Over the weekend, Bernie teamed up with far-left Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El-Sayed for a campaign rally that was a doozy. Watch here.
Brothers and sisters, let me tell you, change is coming. Progressives have been defeating establishment candidates all across America. Now, brothers and sisters, the entire country is watching this election, so there's an enormous responsibility on your shoulders.
And so, Bernie, did you leave Michigan, you and AOC, who was there with you, your comrade, did you leave and board the private jet like you've done with no apologies throughout the rest of the country? 800-848-9222. Dominic Carter here with you, line one, John in Reno. Good morning, John. What's on your mind?
I tell you, what Mamdani is trying to do to Bibi is a sign of the times. The UN class in America.
Wait, John, you broke up. We couldn't hear a word that you said. All we heard was you said what he's trying to do to Bibi, and then you broke up.
I'm sorry. My phone is no good. Let me call back tomorrow.
Okay, well, that serves us no point in the middle of a live show. But thank you, John. Moving on. I'll get back to your calls in just a second here. Moving on, folks. It's interesting that Secretary of State Marco Rubio warned of attacks from the far left just last week. I want you to listen to what Rubio had to say to America.
The overwhelming share of that violence came from left-wing extremists. Between 1970 and 1980, 93% of terrorist attacks in the West came from the far extremist left. These are numbers that would shock most Americans today because we've been taught to believe that this kind of political violence, it simply doesn't exist or it's being exaggerated. But it does exist. And we're actually underestimating it. And our nations bear the scars to prove it. And today we face a new wave of this old evil. Here in the United States, the share of left-wing terrorist attacks and plots has risen to levels not seen in decades. In Germany, far-left violence has jumped by more than 40% in just the last year alone. In Greece, more than 80% of radical violence is now driven by far-left and anarchist actors. These are not abstract statistics. Americans have seen what those numbers mean. An all-out assault on our immigration officers, sniper attacks, explosives, armed ambushes, a transgender shooter opening fire on Catholic elementary school students as they pray, his gun marked with slogans like, "Where is your God now?" A healthcare executive executed in cold blood in the streets. Multiple assassination attempts on a sitting president, and the murder of the greatest conservative activist of a generation, a man who happened to also be a husband and the father of 2 young children, shot and killed while speaking to a crowd of students. This is a distinctive and unique evil. It has always been driven by a hatred, above all else, a hatred for civilization itself. It is a revolt of the worst against the best, a revolt of the weak and the cowardly against the strong and the good.
And that was the Secretary of State last week, Marco Rubio, before this situation happened here in New York City just hours ago. Dominic Carter here with you. The number to reach us, 800-848-9222.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
I think the level of creating an environment for Jewish New Yorkers, continuing to raise the heat on Jewish New Yorkers, is, I think that's one of the principles of the DSA, the attacks on Israel, our only strong partner that we have. They're not calling death to Americans. They're not calling for the destruction for our way of life. I think that's the rhetoric that's coming out of DSA and City Hall at this time.
And that's the former mayor, America, Eric Adams of New York City, discussing what's going on with the socialists, what it means for the Jewish community. And if it's not happening to your community right now, gear up, because in all likelihood, a socialist is going to pop up out of somewhere. And New York should have listened to London. This was the worst possible thing that could happen to New York. And that is Mamdani 646-7646. The telephone number to reach us, 800-848-9222. I was about to give out my personal cell there. Let's go to line 1, Brock in Newark, New Jersey. Good morning, Brock. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. My heart is just going out for our soldiers. I mean, we've got like 18 dead soldiers since March. I just want to know, do you think we're going to come to a point where everybody's against the war, right and left?
Well, wait a minute. Because I don't even know if that's the matter. I think the issue is Trump derangement syndrome. So when you say is everybody going to be against the war, what do you mean exactly by that, Brock?
Like, will all our representatives demand an end to the war?
When you say demand an end to the war, so you're saying end it. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're saying end it no matter the repercussions, no matter if Iran can get nuclear weapons? Brock, are you there?
Trump says, I mean, I don't have TDS syndrome, okay? I believe that our president has some right, has some right aims. But I just don't want to see any more people on our side dead. I mean, into the war meaning finishing them off. Like either we're gonna do the embargo, we're gonna do the ultimate sanctions, something of that. I mean, because I don't think we're going to be able to drop a nuclear weapon and on these people to stop them. So that's what I mean.
Well, what history has shown us, Brock, and I'm just trying to figure this out with you, is Democrat presidents have taken on this issue and ultimately punted and caved in to Iran. Is that what you want to see? Because, it's unfortunate that Americans are losing their lives, but I don't think the president can give in on this one. So what would you have him do? That's what I'm trying to figure out here.
Drop a small nuclear weapon. Let them know we are dead set
that's
serious.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And then what happens after that?
They'll stop. I mean, I don't know any other way to stop
and the
them.
the nuclear bomb is just going to stop right there in Iran. It's not going to spread out to other places. Correct? I mean, Brock, are you thinking about what you're saying?
I'm just thinking we need this to stop. And these people, they are enraged. They don't want to stop. And I know that when we bombed Pearl Harbor, when we bombed Nagasaki, it stopped.
Okay, well, thank you for the call, Brock. I got to think about this a bit more. Time for a break, folks. When we come back, I got a question for Matt Blaze, 800-848-9222.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
So via Pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Matt Blaze, you got on your Dr. Pepper T-shirt. And yes, I'm hating because your T-shirts always look nice, crisp, and clean. Mine never do, no matter what I do, unless I pay $10 to clean one T-shirt in the cleaners. So I got a couple of issues that I want to run past you. We'll save Mom Donnie for last. And then we'll go back to your phone calls, folks. 800-848-9222. So one of them happens to be, let's just get off of politics for a second, the bison. That 1,000-pound bison, 15,000-pound, whatever, that hit Grandpa at Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming.
Yes.
He's still in the hospital. But he's speaking out. And I want you to listen to what he has to say and then to react.
He wasn't
showing aggression or anything like that until it picked a target. That target happened to be me.
65-year-old Carl McDaniel has been recovering from his injuries since being attacked by a bison in Yellowstone National Park. He spoke with Bozeman Health about the incident and how his recovery is going.
They move faster than you could ever imagine. He just kept coming and he was more aggressive, and as soon as he got off that tree, he launched me in the air. I didn't get bruises from him launching me in the air. It was the landing that came the problem. I was on the ground. He could have stomped me, he could have gored me, could have done anything.
It was definitely clear that he had a pretty painful injury. It's actually broken in multiple pieces, and you can see some fragments here, and there are fracture and break lines right through that.
Bozeman Health says, quote, "We're honoured to share our grateful patient Carl's story. When a traumatic injury changes everything in an instant, every step of care matters."
And so that was the grandfather, followed by the doctor. And among the calls, I see Dave in North Carolina. We'll get to you in just a minute, so just stand by. So, Matt Blaze, you had a few days to think about this situation with the bison. Mm-hmm. The grandfather said that he was trying to save his grandson. Your thoughts?
Well, as he said, it wasn't that. Luckily, it wasn't the fact that the bison threw him like 20 feet in the air, because he could have been gorged by the horn even after he landed. He said it was the landing where I don't know if it broke his hip or whatever. I know there was a broken bone. But even after he landed, the bison could have trampled him, could have tried to gorge him again. I mean, this guy is so lucky that the bison didn't go after him.
Other people tried to get the bison's attention away from him. And that's risky because he says they run 3 times faster than we do. And the bison could have went after them. But a number of people came to his aid. And so, but he's still in the hospital. So this is no joke.
Yeah, well, when you get gorged or practically gorged or thrown in the air by a bison and you come down, you're not a stunt man. You're going to get hurt. What's he supposed to do? Tuck and roll? He doesn't know what to do.
It's not Hollywood.
No.
Okay, so the next thing I want to ask you about, be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. Do you even drink Dr. Pepper?
Sometimes. On occasion.
Sometimes.
On occasion. When I was a kid, it was like, when I was a kid, I used to go to day camp, and every Friday they took us to the bowling alley, and it was my treat was to buy a can from the vending machine of Dr. Pepper.
Ah, so you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now you and I are at a sporting event, professional sporting event.
Okay.
I believe firmly when the national anthem is played, it's time to stand up, put your hand over your heart, and this is serious business because people have died for us to have the right to be in that stadium watching these athletes, right?
True.
So it's online. I think it's a Chicago Cubs game. Grandpa, this kid's in front of him. And the man, I don't think he knew the kid. The man is standing and the kid doesn't get up. And I've been to a number of games. I've been to games with friends where they have the audacity to be proud to sit down. I want to smack them in the back of their heads too. So Grandpa smacked this kid who he didn't even know in the back of the head and said, "Get up." And the kid looked at him like, "Oh my God." Would you have done the same thing?
I wouldn't have smacked him in the head. I think that it's so unfortunate that this has been lost on the generation. Look, when the whole kneeling thing happened with Kaepernick, then all of a sudden,
career was over. He took a stand once his career
was already over. But when that whole thing happened with Kaepernick, it brought this attention to the fact that before that, people didn't even pay attention to the national anthem being played. It wasn't even that. Yeah, of course, but no one was paying attention. Then all of a sudden, with the Kaepernick, then all of a sudden, it's like the cameras are there. Every game, they're broadcasting the national anthem, showing the players, the ones that are now kneeling. Some of them are standing. Now they're scanning the crowd. Before that, they played it while they went to commercial. And you didn't know if people were standing. You didn't know if people were sitting. You didn't know what was going on. So I don't think people are, at this point, even aware, or a kid is even aware that you're supposed to stand during the national anthem.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think a kid
I don't
is
think
aware
they know.
of that?
I don't think they know.
Well, if they don't know, I think that mommy and daddy did a bad job. Hey, stand by, Matt Blaze. I'm going to come back to you in just a second. Let's get in one of these calls here. Let's go to Dave in North Carolina, line 1. Good morning, Dave. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Mr. Carter. I love you in the afternoon. Digressing a little bit from last week about Mandami's things and his ethnic map, I'm surprised that nobody in the black community had noticed that the Apollo was omitted from that. And Apollo is as New York as you get. It is as ethnic as you get. There's a super strong loving black community in New York, and the Apollo is the center of the black community.
Wait, Dave, maybe I'm a little confused here. It was about communities. Are you saying that there were items in each community that was highlighted? I thought it was just about ethnic communities. The Apollo is not an ethnic community. It's just the Apollo Theater that's in a black community. So are you saying there were items, because I don't remember off the top of my head, that were pointed to each community that was part of that community?
Well, Dominic, I might be misreading into it, and I apologize, and I'm very supportive of New York and the black community, so please don't get me wrong.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that why would he highlight the Apollo?
Well, when you're isolating all these different ethnic strengths or ethnic communities within New York, when I think of New York, and I have family that grew up and were born in Harlem. I think of, the black community of New York. I think of Harlem. That's a big part of the black community of New York, of Bronx, obviously. But I also think of the Apollo Theater. But
also Brooklyn. You can't just say, I know your heart is in the right place. You can't say Apollo black. But were there what I'm saying is, were there other items on the map that were like the Apollo? Why would he just put the Apollo on it and then name other communities?
That's a good point, Dominic. And please don't read me as being anything negative to New York.
I'm not reading anything to it, Dave. But I do thank you for the call, calling from North Carolina. So Matt Blaze, you're not off the hook, young man. And we'll get back to your calls, folks. 800-848-9222. So you would not have smacked the kid, but you have said something to the kid.
I don't think so. I would have stood, but if somebody else doesn't, I don't think the kid even knew. He probably didn't even know he was supposed to stand. But if you want to do what you want to do, that's on you. If you don't want to stand, then don't. I don't. It's not my business what you do. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's disrespectful? Yeah, it's disrespectful. But I don't. At the same time, I'm not gonna. It's not my business. You have the free. That's the freedom of speech.
Conspiracy? Is it a conspiracy? Every time one of us forgets to turn down our cell phone,
that's right.
That's when the cell phone rings.
Of course,
in the middle of the show.
And you notice how mine's never rung before.
In the middle of the show. Okay, so now let's get to the final topic before I get back to some of the actual clips. Mamdani, Netanyahu, what do you think of this?
I think Mamdani's doing this for publicity. I think he knows there's no way that he can ever arrest.
Okay, but wait, but why do you have to get publicity?
Because he wants to fight.
When you're the mayor of New York, when you wake up, you can have a news conference and you're going to get publicity.
Because he wants to play he's playing to his base. He's definitely playing to his base.
No matter how much it destroys America.
He knows that he can't do what he wants to. He knows it already. He even heard former mayor Eric Adams say, they don't need to take weeks and weeks to figure this out.
Right.
He already knows that he can't do it. So now he could say, well, look, I tried. I wanted to, but I'm not allowed to. And it just fires up the base to say, oh, he tried. Look what he's doing. Oh, he said he's going to do this. That's it. That is his. We know this is the world we live in now, Dominic. Hype, 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 hype. And he's hyping it for the moment. And then A month from now, there'll be something else. Well, I guess.
Yeah, but if I'm a member of the Jewish community, I'm sad anyway for what this guy is doing. When you go after a Netanyahu, right, a world leader, what message do you think you're sending to the Jewish community here in New York?
I don't think he cares. It's that simple. He doesn't care. Look what he's been saying.
Right.
And he's using this, he's the international. We don't go by that in this country. So what are you talking about?
Why are you citing this court, this international criminal court,
and you know
when it's
this.
not acknowledged here?
Right. And you know this. So
and you know this.
Why are you saying these things? It's only to fire up his base of people, to show them that he's saying it. Oh, and they, to
show them that he's really trying to destroy.
He's trying
America.
to do something. And he's on the wrong side. We know that he's on the wrong side. We know we've seen what he has done just in New York with not highlighting all of the communities. He's not highlighting everyone.
It's crazy. Matt Blaze, thank you. I'll come back to you. We see your calls coming in, 800-848-9222. Our other big story, what happened at 26 Federal Plaza, which is where ICE is located in New York City. This is part of a report from the WABC affiliate here in New York.
It was a frightening start to the day. Thankfully, it was short-lived. No lives were lost. One man is in custody. And now the troubling details as to why someone would light a fire outside a federal building. Police have now identified this man as 43-year-old Andrew Arabaka from Poughkeepsie, New York. Detectives say a bucket of gasoline was poured outside the employee entrance to 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan early this morning, then set ablaze. As flames rose, officials report the same man then pulled out an airsoft rifle and fired 5 to 7 pellets in the direction of the building. Response was immediate. The man was stopped, arrested, and is now the focus of a federal investigation.
And so I'm standing here looking at my Twitter. I'm going to try and get to some of them, but let's get some of these calls in. Let's go to Sherman, line 1 in Manhattan. Sherman, what's on your mind?
I want to first commend this outstanding show that you and Matt and the gentleman that answered the phone, you played one of my favorite songs. I want to praise you like I should. I think we should, and I'm speaking for myself, and I call it like it is. I want to praise this show like I should, and I want to say that sincerely. The kid that was at the game, was he black? Because you already know.
No, the kid was white, and the elderly man was white.
Astonishing. You can knock me over with a feather. But I still want to stay with the same point. It's fascinating. In the black community, there is no serious respect whatsoever for that flag unless you're in a conservative family or somebody in your family of dominance was in the military. So, that's a real isolated incident, in my opinion. In the black community, I'm generalizing, anybody disagree, call in and let me know, or let us know, I should say, because I won't be on the phone at that time. What's the deal in the black community where there's they're living in the past with the flag? They associate the flag with the Confederate. It's all this nonsense. I see the flag as a flag. It's not a breathing, living being. And so.
Hey Sherman, Sherman,
yes.
do me a favor, because you're hitting on a very serious topic. I need to take a break. If you can stand by, I got to do one more short segment, and then I'm coming right back, and I want to continue this with you. So please stay with me. Time for a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Looking at my Twitter, David J. Wise says, I would have slapped him in the head too. Good for Grandpa. Regarding the kid that got slapped in the back of the head because he wasn't standing for the national anthem. Catherine Trunk, the lovely Catherine Trunk, says, enjoying my Diet Coca-Cola as DJ Matt is wearing his Dr. Pepper shirt. Be a pepper, drink Dr. Pepper. I was just chatting with Sherman. Sherman's still with me. Sherman, I wasn't going to go there tonight. I wasn't going to do it, but you did it. I don't understand. Sherman, I'm going to keep it real with you right now. I can't go on long because I have other calls, but I'm going to keep it real with you. When I see sometimes, not all the time, sometimes, black people at a sporting event that are not standing, I'm saying to myself, what happened to you mentally where you think it's okay for you to do this? And then the second thing I'm saying is, and I don't know whether it's accurate or not, but I'm like, here it is, you're disrespecting America, but I can guarantee you in one shape or another you're receiving government services, either welfare, Medicaid, or something. Sherman, go right ahead.
Thank you so much for giving me the time that you give me on your show. I really respect you and Matt and this whole show. I think that black people need to really stop being, with all due respect, stop living in the past. That's a form of mental illness. You can't live in two places at once. The past is the past. It doesn't exist. It's just a memory in the mind. The only thing that's actually real is the present moment. How is your life now? And if it's not as good as it should be, some of it could be blamed on outside forces, but the flag and what people did 600 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 300 years ago, that has nothing to do with reality in the present moment and what the flag stands for us. I don't like other people coming here from other countries flying their flags in this country. I have a big problem with that.
I do too. Why do you think, Sherman, and this will be my last question for you, and it's not only African Americans that do it, but why do you think some African Americans take such glee at sporting events and not standing for the flag or saluting the flag or the national anthem?
Because I think, unfortunately, they've allowed their minds to be filled full of nonsense, and they're not thinking objectively and rationally, and they're using the flag as a scapegoat. Individuals were wrong in the past. The flag had nothing to do with that.
I agree with you, Sherman, on that. Thank you for the great call and for having patience standing by. Let's go now to Steve, line 2 in Tennessee. Steve, what's on your mind?
Was the guy who slapped the kid, was he a veteran?
I don't know as of right now. All I know is I've seen the video. The kid is at the game. He's not standing for the national anthem. The kid happens to be white. The elderly man happens to be white. And he literally smacks the kid in the back of his head. And the kid turns around and the kid is startled. And you see the man say to him, "Get up." And at that point, I had to cut away from the video to get ready for the show. But whether he's a veteran or not, what does that have to do with anything here, Steve?
Well, he fought for the flag, and if he fought for the flag, he's got a certain amount of feelings of love for country and flag.
Correct.
And it's a sign of disrespect on the part of the kid.
Right. No, you're correct, Steve. You're putting it in perspective. And maybe, I'm not saying that this should happen. Maybe if more adults smack these kids in the back of the head, I don't get it. I have friends at sporting events, and most of us are standing for the national anthem, and they're like, I wish I would. I'm going to stand here and be a social reject. I'm not going to stand for the American flag. And it's like, you idiot. And these are friends of mine. These are friends. I just don't get it. I stand with tremendous pride for the national anthem. I drive through a neighborhood. I see an American flag. It brings joy to my heart. Joy to my heart. I am back 3 p.m. Eastern. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?